Rather, the papers, flows being efficient. One big story is, of course, dominating the papers, the death of Shimon Peres.
That's right, and as you can imagine, tributes pouring out in the Israeli press. Let's start with the editorial of the Jerusalem Post today that says that the nation is bowing its head. Shimon Peres was more than just a politician and a leader. He was the last of the state's founding generation. His death symbolizes the end of an era. Now, Haaretz calls him a living legend, the last of the titans in Israel. But what's interesting is in many ways, his whole life, he was an outsider. He was born in what's now Belarus. He arrived in Israel at the age of 10. And so you can see here, they're calling him the eternal Ole. That's a term used to describe the eternal immigrant. And because of this, in a way, he had to work harder than everyone else. He felt like he had no choice but to outlast them all.
Many papers paying tributes to his efforts to reach peace with the Palestinians, of course, came to be known as the Oslo Accords, ultimately leading to that very famous handshake with the Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat.
That's right. If we stay with Haaretz, they explore what they call his quixotic battle for Israeli-Palestinian peace. All the titles, all the power he acquired throughout his career were not for himself. It was all about advancing the cause of peace. And now, there is a flip side to this, however, and you can read more about it in the New York Times. Before he worked hard to establish a lasting peace with his Israeli neighbors, his Arab neighbors, rather, he was quite hawkish. And you can read more about this kind of double personality here in the New York Times. He did more than anyone to build up his country's formidable military might. Now, Peres also has a lot of critics for his support of Israel's very controversial settlement program. This is an interesting article in Al Jazeera. Actually, it's an interview that they pulled out from 2012 when he was president. You can see there he pulls no punches with respect to his views of Palestinians. They're self-victimizing when it comes to saying that Israel is all at fault.
World leaders paying tribute still there.
That's right. Let's take a look at, first of all, Yediot Aharonot kind of has a roundup of how these world leaders are mourning the loss of Shimon Peres. Lots of people took to Twitter. Ban Ki-moon, for instance, he said that even in the most difficult hours, Peres remained an optimist about the prospects for reconciliation and peace. Barack Obama as well. A light has gone out, but the hope he gave us will burn forever. I had pulled out a couple, but the former U.S. President, Bill Clinton, of course, he was president at the time of that famous handshake. You can see, I will miss Shimon Peres, my brilliant and eloquent friend. His life was a blessing to all who strive for peace.
Another big story in the press today, papers continuing to react to the first presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
That's right. Now, Donald Trump says that he won that debate, but the large consensus is that Hillary Clinton actually came out on top. Let's take a look, first of all. This is the front page of the Wall Street Journal today. Trump, his debate pitch faltered, according to their analysis. Do keep in mind the Wall Street Journal is quite a conservative paper, so it's interesting that they have that analysis. Interesting cartoon in The Independent, the British paper today, which pokes fun at just a comment that Donald Trump made something that came up during that debate, this issue that once upon a time he called a Mexican beauty queen Miss Housekeeping. Well, you can see Miss Housekeeping here is Hillary Clinton mopping up a very sweating Donald Trump. And what is she using as a mop? Well, his wig.
Very nice. I love this next piece as well. The Independent, they interviewed a body language expert. Let's get lots of body language in. What they thought of the debate visually.
That's right. This is psychotherapist Carol Ward. She watched the debate, and you can see here, she says that Donald Trump's nerves got the better of him. He was sniffling, he was sipping water, giving long side glances to his family. All this shows that he wasn't as comfortable as his rival during the debate. Now, what's really interesting is the New York Times as well. They also watched the debate without sound. This is their journalist, Jonathan Mailer.
It's probably better like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a lot more entertaining.
Yeah.
And he watched the debate on mute. I still knew the score. This is fascinating. He says that it was all in the body language. She looked like she was having fun. He, not so much. All of this was to test the theory that presidential debates are just as much about what the candidate's saying, but perhaps even more what they look like while they're saying it. But of course, what they say still does matter. Countless quotes and sound bites came out of that debate, but one in particular, and that is the fact that Donald Trump at one point said that he was smart for not paying taxes. Maybe he's smart, but maybe it wasn't a very smart political move. Take a look at, first of all, an article in the Washington Post. They watched this debate with undecided voters. Of course, they're really a key demographic in this election. And that comment, when he said not paying taxes made him smart, well, made these undecided voters gasp. And just to end, there's a cartoon in the New York Times by Chapat. You can see, once again, this comment, not paying taxes makes me smart. Wonder how that will go down with those Trump supporters there living in that trailer park.
We shall see in the polls over the coming days. Thank you, Flo, with the papers on France 24.